got choked. I'm losing my voice, so excuse me. Good morning. How y'all doing? This is AL Thick Madame and Cinnamon Sugar. And I am off work. Just left work. I'm about to go get me a frappe so it can cool me off and make me feel good at the same time and all that good stuff. I don't know if the police behind me or not. So anyway, let me tell y'all about what's been going on. First of all, y'all might get two videos today. This one and the one that's gonna come before this one, because when I tell y'all I've been so tired, my body has been so tired that by the time I actually try to go on ahead and relax and enjoy myself and watch TV shows and things, I just sat up there and went to sleep. Like yesterday, my plan was to get off work and take these braids down. Child, please. Before I knew it, I went to sleep. I had unbraided them because I braided up like 3 braids each so that I could do the Bantu knots. And, you know, that's what y'all saw me don all this week up until like a day or two ago. And I got complimented left and right on them or whatever. Like, I've always lived for Bantu knots, whether it was with my own hair or with specific types of weave. It don't matter. As long as it looks cute on me, I like it. So, but I had plans to take it down so that on my off days, and I'm going to claim it, I could do my hair. Now, there has been a monkey wrench of sorts that has been thrown into the mix. Oh, Lord. And she texted me. Oh, gosh. I'm about to tell y'all about that in a minute. But there was a little video that I made prior to this, y'all. It was where I was basically doing the intro. And I was telling y'all that I was letting somebody go ahead and leave out of the work parking lot that was doing the most. Because they have a Jeep, right? And they right in front of me. They got a Jeep, right? And it's like 5,000 feet off the ground. And it looked like a pickup truck on the back. And I'm pretty sure every tire costs like $1,000 each. And I'm like, you don't live anywhere that requires you to need a vehicle like that. Like, you don't. A lot of the people, most of the people around who have regular Jeeps, it's like, what is y'all don't live nowhere that require this. Almost none of them live in the country. And I'm talking about, like, one of my friends has one, but she ain't extra with it like the other people. She wanted an SUV, and she went from having a super small vehicle to finally having like an SUV. And it suits her, and it's fine because she actually has a little bit of a drive ahead of her when she leaves this city to go home. But these other people, they live here. They don't live nowhere that require them to have vehicles like this. But anyway, so tell me why. What I was saying was, I was like, I didn't even realize it was his vehicle. I kept seeing it in the parking lot, not knowing that it was his, right? And so I was just like, okay. Didn't know it was his. And I know he looking in the rearview mirror. He kept looking. He looked over at me when we were in the parking lot because I was talking, because I was obviously talking to y'all. He didn't know who I was talking to, though. And so it just became, I should have just went up, man. Forget that. I'm gonna go this way. I be over here doing the most because I don't be over here, so I ain't know I should have went the other way. I should have went up and then turned, but it's okay. I'm gonna get there because I gotta get off of here in order to do my water. So anyway, y'all, to make a long story short, he's overcompensating. Hey y'all, I'm back. As you can see, I'm inside of the apartment. So what happened was, I was going to continue recording while I was outside of the post office. I was waiting on them to post or scan in my package to let me know that they put the key or a slip of paper that had some information on it, so I could go to the front desk and retrieve my package. Whichever way it was going to get done, I was waiting on that notification to come through. Well, for the first time ever since I've been drinking frappes, nature started to try to call, and I was like, I ain't got time for this. I don't know why, but stuff like that, it don't really do nothing. It don't do nothing to me. But today, it decided it wanted to try me. And I was on the phone with my friend, and that's why I ended up stopping the video the first time, because she was talking to me. And again, I'm about to get into that, so I'm letting y'all be in my business. Okay, y'all. So first of all, I'm gonna go back to the previous conversation where I was telling y'all about this guy who had this high for no reason, off the ground, customized Jeep. Well, he's overcompensating. He's trying to overcompensate for the fact that he ain't working with nothing. And his stroke trash too, from what I was told. Like, everything about him sexually is trash. He got a wife. The wife don't even want to have sex with him. Like, I've heard nothing but disappointing stories about him when it pertains to the bedroom and whatnot. When it comes to sex, all of that. So, yeah, I done caught him staring at me a few times, and I'm just like, nah. He became, like, very intrigued with me in recent months because he went from ignoring me and only, like, whenever he would come upstairs, when I was working upstairs, he would only talk to the side heifer. Like, really stand there for long periods of time talking to her. And I'm like, okay. And then they would, like, be looking over at me, and I'm like, child, here we go. Well, he didn't know that I was heavily affiliated with one of the newcomers. And every time I would see him, every time I would see this guy I used to work with, I would harass him, like, playfully or whatever. Like, I used to always bug him, annoy him, all that. It's fun. It's very enjoyable for me. So he was standing close by one day when I was talking to him, and he was kind of looking like, why is she talking to him like that? Like, everybody, even the other new people, I ain't know them. I knew him. I would speak to them, and I would just, really act crazy when it came to him. Now, he had already been working there, but he was working somewhere else, totally unrelated. Well, then he decided that he wanted to come over to the dark side, and I was trying to tell him, don't do it. He was like, I'm going to do it anyway. I was like, well, whatever. I tried to warn you. Do what you do. So now he does it on another shift, and when he was training, I would run into him a lot. And a lot of the times when I go to the new department, I run into him. And so it is what it is. Y'all excuse me. I'm tired. So bring this down a little bit more, or at least try to. Sorry. I'm trying to bring it down a little bit more because I think I'm going to be laying down a little bit more than anything else. So he saw my interaction with him, and then he proceeded to go and talk to him and was like, do you know Blunda? And he was like, yeah, we used to work together for years at this other place. And he's young. So he was kind of shocked, didn't know that I worked literally with somebody he went to school with. And because he's older than me, and I used to work with this other lady, and he was like, oh, well, do you know this woman? I was like, yeah, we actually worked in the same department. He was just blown away. Like, everybody he asked me about, I knew. He was just like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. And like, he really be looking at me now, but he be looking at me in a completely different way outside of just the fact that I be knowing people and I have experience and all this other stuff. Child, anyway, I've seen pictures, full body pictures with his face included. It ain't matching up. You could tell that this vehicle purchase is strictly for him having to overcompensate. Cause no, child, I can't. It ain't nothing about him appealing, so I don't understand. Like, I guess some people were dealing with him for money, but child, I wouldn't deal with him like that. So anyway, so now moving on to my tea. Before I want to go ahead and tell y'all about this because it's like there's a lot to tell, but not really. And I'm gonna have to give y'all more information. More information is gonna come about when it comes to this by the time I have to go back to work on Tuesday. As of right now, they have me scheduled to not have to work on my days off. Hallelujah in the name. Hopefully it stays that way. They have a lot of people already that should need me. Hopefully ain't nobody gonna call off. I'm tired. Also, my friend walked by and he told me that next week I'm supposed to start training, doing that half of a job, and I'm just rolling my eyes like, child, whatever. They got to work out the details, but I'm supposed to start training, which means my days of the week and hours, like, I'm gonna go from one shift to a whole another shift to train on it, and I'm not here for it. I'm hopeful that I will have a job somewhere else before that happens, because if I'm going to go from one shift to another, I want it to be in one foul swoop as it pertains to me going to a whole another job. And yeah, back into social work, preferably. So I will keep y'all updated on that. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but there was something that was going on with the site that I had to apply on, and it would not allow me to create a profile. It would not allow me to submit an application. I don't know what was going on with that, but I'm gonna have to get back on there between today and Monday before I go to sleep for work and lay down or whatever. I gotta make sure I get that submitted because I'm trying to be over there by the 1st. I'm trying. I don't know if it's gonna happen. I don't know if they're desperate enough or whatever they need to be in order for them to finally accept my application. And when my interview happens, for them to finally say, yes, we are going to hire her on this time. Because every time I've applied for social work related jobs here, they'll hire somebody else and put the job right back out there a month later. And I'm like, I'm not understanding. So anyway, y'all, so my tea is this. My friend randomly was like, you know what? I don't know why I didn't think of this earlier. I might have somebody for you. I was like, girl, what are you talking about? I'm thinking she's about to play a game again, because one time she was talking about the dude who should have never had her number because he was at a phone place and he still kept her number after helping her and reached out to her. And initially, like, this was like a year ago when all this initially happened, and so he reached out to her and was like, yeah, my name is da 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 da, I helped you that day, whatever. So when I ended up accidentally breaking my phone screen on my brand new phone, this phone, she said, I think I got somebody that might be able to help. And it ended up being him. I had no idea. I thought she knew somebody else. Of course I knew about this situation because I've been cool with her since I started working there. So it's been 3 years. We just gotten closer now. And so she reached out to him. He started setting it off again. And so he essentially, helped me so that I could find a place where I could get my screen replaced way quicker than it would have been had I done it the normal way they would have tried to do it, because nobody had the parts. And luckily the place that he told me about, they got the part in quickly. The only negative thing about it is that I had to drive an hour to an hour and a half one way just to go and get it done. I had to sit for like 3 hours, find stuff to do while they were fixing it. And it was a day that I had to be at work. I worked that day, didn't have no sleep. And by the time we finally got down to the bottom of everything, because at first it wasn't allowing me to even submit my claim, we finally figured out what was going on with it. We had to like change the area code in order for it to be accepted. And then I had to drive. So once that was accepted, I started driving. And even though I got there at a decent time, it just took me so long. It took them longer than when they originally, quoted a time. It ended up being an hour longer. So then I had to drive home and rush out of traffic, try to get some sleep. I was dog tired the next day, but my screen was fixed. And I had purchased the case that I needed, because I had cases on the way. This was just a spur of the moment, ooh, I want this phone, let me get it type situation. And so instead of me doing like I normally do, which is doing in-depth research on the phones that I want, and then once I settle on a phone, I make sure I get my cases and screen protectors and everything well in advance. Most of the time it's like a month in advance. I usually at the least have it a month in advance. I set it off. This time I was like, oh no, I want this phone, whatever. So I got it and all that stuff popped off. Well, this dude started doing the most again, and even doing more than what he was doing before. So she just had to let him know, like, I'm not interested, like, you're doing too much. Even though her sister knows who he is because they went to school together, she was like, he a nice dude and he will set you up on, vacations and things. He just wants honey. He wants a little sugar. He's not a sugar daddy, but if he's dealing with you sexually, he's gonna be like, oh, let's go on trips. Let's do this, let's do that. He'll buy stuff for you. He'll wind it down. He'll do all these things. And I was like, well, I'm not a gold digger, so I mean, that's not moving me. So, that's nice that he'll supply all this money and pay for my, ticket if we was to go places and all of that, but I'm not interested in that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I be doing the most when it comes to sex. But I didn't know him, and I don't know him. And so she tried to send him my way, And once I realized, and I was like, why he seemed like he looked like the dude that she was telling me about, and it was him. So she tried to send him. She tried to send him my way. She was trying to send this married dude my way, and I'm like, girl, all because he was talking about he has amazing stamina, which I don't believe. I don't believe. Most of these people say all this and they trash and cannot keep up. Like, no. And I was just like, I'm not interested in a married man. Like, he wears his wedding band. And I think he married his wife because he had been in prison, jail, or whatever. And pretty much as soon as he got out, he was able to get with her. So I think that he was using her as a come up so that he can get on the right track. And she was paying bills and all this other stuff. Now he works all the time, but I'm not sure if he lived for her like that because he be doing the most when it comes to me. I ignore him because I'm not interested. So anyway, with this situation, this guy is her uncle. Now, the person that I'm talking about, she's in her early 50s. Her uncle, he's her step uncle, if you will. Like, if we're going to really technically put it out there. Her mom married his brother. I don't know how old the brother was. I think he passed away. But he is supposed to be in like his early 40s. So I was like, okay, y'all know I'm about to be 40 in February. So it is what it is when it comes to that. So I'm just like, girl, I just started laughing when she was like, I know somebody. And so I kind of thought she was joking. And I'm like, here we go again. She finna suggest some other random person at work that she done dealt with, or somebody that she kind of was interested in, but they seem like they might be more interested in me or whatever. And I'm like, girl. So she was like, my uncle. I'm like, Lord, how old is he? Like, what is we talking about? Like, I was like, I shouldn't even say anything. I shouldn't even act the slightest bit interested. But now you got me curious. Now, how old is this person? What they got going on? Now, she has mentioned him before, but this time she went into depth about him. And so, child, I don't know. The only thing I can really tell y'all is that he's from the islands and that he's supposed to reach out to me today. I kept telling her, I said, look, I don't know how it's going to go. I don't get my hopes up about nothing no more. She keeps trying to vouch for him. So I was like, I can vouch for him. He's not like these other dudes you've ever met. He ain't got no girlfriend. He ain't got no, like you like to say, your little yeah with the yeah and all that. And I'm like, okay, I don't know about all that. Like, if he's such a great guy, why he ain't got nobody? Like, something ain't right. So she done talked him up. And I'm like, girl, I don't know. So she said that she was going to ask him to send a picture of himself and, get the conversation going so that she can get everything set up. And I'm like, girl, I'm not getting my hopes up about nothing. I'm not even finna try to get excited about nothing. So he woke up and she got him to take a recent picture of himself and all of that or whatever. And so I'm like, okay, whatever. Now, I'm going to say this. I have an ex. I'm not going to say if it's recent, back in the day or whatever. I have an ex that before we got together, wasn't nobody checking for them. After we got together and I continuously poured into him, everybody and their mama started checking for him. So, I don't know. This might be that type of situation. I don't know. Because just off of the picture that she sent to me, he's not my type. He's not necessarily ugly, but he's just somebody that probably, if I were to pour into him, he would become somebody that I would be attracted to. He used to have locks. He cut them off, and he's thinking of growing them back. So I'm like, oh, okay. That's very interesting to me, because I already told y'all before, at some point in my life, I might actually lock up. I'm not sure. But I really love all sorts of styles right now. And I can't even settle on what type of lock I would want. Because, child, 1 minute I want sister locks like what my mom, not my mom, like my sister has, right? I watched the very first video they ever put on YouTube. There was this girl who did the, I forgot if it was sister locks or something. It was something that was like sister locks if it wasn't. Might be another name for them. If I think about it, I'll put it in the video. But it was the very first video they ever put up there, and she showed her process of how she did it, and I was mesmerized. I could tell y'all exactly where I was and everything. I was at my paternal grandmother's house on my mobile data, watching every time she uploaded a video. That was the only video on YouTube that went over the steps of how she was doing it. And it was so interesting to me. Like, if I wanted to right now, I could lock somebody up with their hair like that. And it's very time consuming, but I think it's like the same process that you use when you're doing sister locks. If it's not sister locks, but it's the same process that you use. So it's the same method is what I guess I should have been saying. So very interested. I have always been infatuated with locks, and I just never knew if I would ever pull the trigger on it for myself. I'm very shocked that my sister did it. Very shocked that she locked up, but she did. But yeah, I don't know what I want to do to my hair. Even right now, I don't know the next style I want to do. One minute I want twists, not with my hair. Another minute I want other braids, because there are different methods for braids that are the same size as these. Another minute I want small, extra small braids. Child, I promise you, I kind of want extra small. I ain't gonna lie to you. But that man ain't gonna see me this weekend if I do all that, because I get tired with the quickness. I be like, ooh, I'm tired. Woo! And I be wanting to sleep. Oh, Lord, I don't know. So anyway, we supposed to meet up at some point in time this weekend. She gave him my number. She screenshot his number, and she was just telling me to save it so that when he does text me, that I will, know that it's him. Because at first she was going to tell him to call me. I was like, girl, just tell him to text me, because I hate being on the phone. Like, I got to really, really, really fool with you to be on the phone. I don't know him like that yet. And then I might not be able to catch on to his accent fully just yet. So we're going to have to meet in person quite a few times for me to, begin to understand him. Because I haven't been around anybody that's from the islands in quite some time. Like, there are people to this day who can't understand 90% of the words that are spoken by people in certain songs that I grew up listening to. Like, they don't understand Beanie Man, everything he be talking about. A lot of time they don't understand the words that Sean Paul said. Like, I just be like, and I paid like if you was to say Pon the River, they don't know what you're talking about. They done said every word but Pon the River. They don't know what's going on. Like, I mean, it's certain things like that when I'm around people from the islands, I pick up on it and I understand the majority of what they're saying or whatever. And it gets to a point where it's like, just about everything I understand what they're saying. And so I don't know how this gonna be. She said his accent is still thick, even though he has been gone for like 20 years, 20 or 30 years, and he is in his early 40s, early to mid 40s. I don't know. She said his accent is still thick. So we gonna see. I don't know how it's gonna go. And but I'll keep y'all updated. Not really nervous. I'm not expecting anything. Like, when I tell y'all all the time, I'm tired. Like, I'm really tired of people. And eventually I'll tell y'all his story if it gets far enough. But he's been through a whole lot. So I understand. Unfortunately, I understand his situation. And he got a whole lot of other... Y'all, there's a whole lot of stuff outside of the relationship situation that he has going on. So it's another layer I'm gonna have to peel back at some point. But I will let y'all know how it go. I don't know when we're gonna meet, but she talking about he real excited. I keep telling her little stuff. I'm like, girl, make sure you let him know my eyebrows ain't done and they're real big and bushy right now, and they're gonna stay like that. I'm not gonna pluck them or get them threaded or nothing right now, because I'm conducting an experiment. And she was like, girl, he ain't okay about that. I was like, yeah, okay. Then I told her to make sure that he's fully aware that I am fat, because I don't need him to be thinking that he got catfished. Because the picture that she showed me that she sent to him, you can't really, to me, you can't tell that I'm fat like I'm fat, right? You know what I'm saying? Because to me, I don't have 5,000 chins. So people typically be like, well, I don't believe you're big. Like, when I was on this site, I actually just deleted that app the other day, or whatever you want to call it. I deleted it the other day because I just had it up there just to have it for kind of like sentimental and memory's sake. But it's a whole lot of trash dudes on there. So I was like, child, let me get up off of there. I done met the 2 or 3 that I needed to meet off there that I'm really good friends with, and that's all I need. The end. That's how I met my should have been baby daddy. I met him off that site, but that site was completely different back then. It really was for friends. It really was for you to find friends on there, and we were friends. We never did nothing. I ran away from him. And that's why we never did anything. But I met him off that site. And there's this other guy I'm friends with. He's in the military. He's a younger guy. I met him off there. He is so sweet. Ooh, I got nervous. I thought he had texted me here at the end. I need to stop. What am I getting nervous for? I don't even understand what I'm getting nervous for. But anyway, child. So I will keep y'all updated on that. I don't know. I'm not expecting nothing. I just want to be able to. I like the bare minimum. You know what I'm saying? I just miss, in all honesty, I miss things that I never had. I always envisioned certain things being normal for me. Like having someone in my life that would massage my feet without me having to ask, massage my body, back, whatever, without me having to ask, and them just being drawn to me and just knowing, hey, something's off with her. Let me ask her how she doing. Like the things that I do for people. You know what I'm saying? Because I know that I am a nurturer of some sort or whatever. But it's like I never get that reciprocated. People don't care about me. I had to beg for hugs. I had to beg to be kissed. I had to beg for affection. It's like... But then you want like my ex would get mad when random people wanted to hug me, whether they had ulterior motives or not. I didn't. I just love hugs. Like if you didn't do nothing to me and I felt like we were cool and I'm friends with you, I feel like there should be nothing wrong with a hug. But he didn't want me hugging dudes at all, which part of me I get it. But yeah, I was just like, I love hugs. Like it raises, what is it, the serotonin or something, child? I don't know. It really does make a difference for me. Like I really have been down in the dumps, and then I had an amazing, like that day when that man hugged me, he was just like, I just feel like I'm just going, like he was in the middle of talking, he was like, I'm just gonna do it. He just reached over and like held me tight. He hugged me, and I really, when I tell you I was on the verge of tears, I really needed that hug. Like it just took everything in me. I was just like, Raggedy Heifer was back there. Child, I'm supposed to work with her on Tuesday with somebody else back there. And I don't know how that's gonna go. Child, I'm just like, ugh. Y'all need to figure it out, because I'm sick of y'all. Y'all really getting on my nerves. But hopefully, like I said, hopefully these people will see that I put my application out there, and with the quickness, they're gonna be like, when are you available? And I'm gonna be like, baby, I'm ready now. Hopefully it'll be before I'm supposed to start working on the new shift training. Child, please. But yeah, y'all, I done rambled on and on. Oh, I ain't even tell y'all. Wait a minute. I have to continue talking. So the last thing, guess what, y'all? I'm minding my business, and somebody rolled up on me. One of the 3 Musketeers rolled up on me. He was like, guess what? Because he had already came over to me to borrow a pen so that he could fill out paperwork. And so he came back over there again. I was like, what, did you forget something? And so he made it seem like he forgot something. And then he kind of held the paper up because he knew the dude that I was working with was being nosy. And so even though he wasn't going to hear him, he didn't want him to even try to read his lips. So he came over there to tell me that the guy, was going to file charges on the other guy. So I told y'all a couple of weeks ago to keep the peace. I've been switching places with that guy and this other guy. The other guy that is the one that he's talking about pressing charges against, is the one where he tried to make it seem like 1 minute he said he flashed a gun, the next minute he said he flashed a knife, and then the next minute he said he flashed some scissors. So he going around telling certain people that he gonna press charges on this man. I said, oh my gosh. So then now he just sat up there, and the person who just came over there to tell me that all day he was complaining about him. Now, whether it was true or not, I don't know. I don't care. It ain't that deep. Like, you should have just... I feel like because y'all don't get along and y'all don't need to talk to each other, even to say anything about work-related stuff. As I've told y'all in the past, when the side heifer works directly across from me, sometimes we have the same resources, and I hate that. I hate working in that department when we have the same resources, which means she'll go up and retrieve stuff, even though it's for me, just so she can be petty, especially if she see me walking up there to go get it. Like, she'll try to speed past me to go get it, or I'll get up there before her, and she'll be like, that's for me, I ordered that, and like, will get an attitude. And I swear, I just be like, ooh, Lord, I cannot, ooh, Lord, y'all, I'm about to rip my edges out. Just, she making me itch, making my head itch, and my scalp is not even itching. But she just be doing the most. And so he made it seem like that's what was happening today. Resources were being stolen. He done went over to the supervisor. He done left me by myself several times to go talk to the supervisor about stuff. I'm like, Lord, when is day gonna be over with? And then the way that it is today and part of tomorrow, what we got going on over there, when I tell you, that's the type of situation that I don't like being in. That's why I want to be where I'm supposed to be, because the most is going on up there right now. You need 3 people to run the department when this particular situation is going on. They done went back to just 2. So we fight for our lives as it is. I was doing fine fighting for my life, so to speak, with my half that I had to run. Him, on the other hand, child, he done left his radio somewhere, so they on the radio calling for his side all day. And I'm like, Lord have mercy. I don't want to hear this radio all day. So that's why I swear, sometimes I turn it off. So sometimes, I ain't gonna lie, I turn it off until I know I'm up there by myself and they might call for something. I had two machines that I had to worry about that, something was gonna come up on them, and they needed, to be able to get in contact with me about them. So since I knew that, that's the only reason why I kept it on all day. It wasn't gonna be specifically at the times that they quoted. So I just wanted to make sure I still was gonna have it on. It's the only reason why I had it on pretty much all day. But they called all day about him. So that was the first situation that went down. He just sat up here and he telling people he filed charges against this man. Well, then he came up to me and was like, yeah, I'm going to HR in the morning when I get off to go and talk to them about him, because I'm like, oh my gosh, Jesus, fix it. Lord. And so I'm over here telling him, I'm like, look, you better make sure you're on your P's and Q's. I feel like something gonna pop off. And so he, of course, he like me. He want to know, like, what something said? Like, what you talking about? I'm like, Lord, I ain't finna say nothing. Just stay on your P's and Q's. And he don't miss no time. He don't miss no time. He do everything he's supposed to do. And it was so bad that earlier when he went and said something to the supervisor called him to the office and all kinds of stuff. And he was just like, really? Like, it was just a petty situation. I was like, oh my gosh, it ain't that deep. So y'all, I don't know. I've done as much as I can to keep the peace. Ain't nothing else I can do. I did what I was supposed to do. Like, I can't, do nothing. If I were to switch with him, essentially he would just still be working with old boy. He still gonna have to deal with it. They were still gonna cross paths with the way that it was set up today. So I wasn't nothing I could do. So tomorrow he'll be far away from him. So he volunteered to work today. He volunteered to work tomorrow. And so he gonna be here. He's working all this week, all next week, because he's gonna take off Memorial Day weekend. Even though I'm trying to remember if he gonna stay at the top or be right at the top, but he's taking off. And so hopefully some kind of way I'm not gonna have to work, but I don't trust none of these folks. And hopefully, like I said, hopefully if worse come to worse, I'll work and then I'll be somewhere else working, not at this job no more, because they get on my nerves. Oh, one last thing. So I don't remember if I told y'all this or not, but was it today? It was either today or yesterday. My friend told me that the heifer that don't talk to me no more, that was supposed to be friends with me, she keep reaching out to him. She reached out to him again recently and was asking about a job. And he was like, look, I'm gonna be straight up honest with you. You won't be able to get that job because that job has always been reserved for men, whatever. And every time I've ever known of them talking over the radio, it's always men. Every time I look over there, it's always men. I ain't never saw a woman over there, so it is what it is. So she keep on trying to apply for jobs. They're not responding to her. And he was like, she should have just came over here and applied when I told you to send her the link or a copy of a picture that you took to her. I said, I did what you told me to do. And she just said she wasn't interested, da 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 da. You know, I didn't go into the details of what she said, but she was very dry with me and very matter of fact, had an attitude with it. And I was like, oh, okay. I think I did tell y'all about it, but I just didn't post it. That's what that is. I hadn't posted it yet. But she had an attitude and was like, this my off day, and this is my last off day of the week, and I'm not gonna be able to make it, and I'm trying to get out of this city as soon as possible anyway. So it's kind of like she was like, I'm content where I'm at, and I'm saving my money up so I can go back home and be with my man or something. I don't know. That's what it gave. And I was just like, okay. Like, it was so dry, y'all. When I tell y'all, she started getting more and more dry with me. And I'm just like, I'm not finna overextend myself. I'm not finna overextend myself. And it got to the point where the only communication that was happening was me initiating it. And that's not the way it's finna be over here. I done that before, been there, done that. I'm not finna be that person again. Once I start seeing you move funny, I'm gonna move the same way you move. You ain't reaching out, I'm not reaching out either. It is what it is. So even though I tried to do that, sometimes I kind of falter. And I'm like, oh, let me check. Like with old boy that had the 2 kids. I checked on the kids. I did all kinds of stuff. But he wouldn't even respond. I said, see, that's what I'm talking about. But the difference between him and her is that whenever I post certain things, he actually likes it, loves it, all that stuff. Be sending it off. And I'd be like, oh. Oh, you can do all that, but you can't text me back. Alrighty then. I ain't seen the kids, and I don't know how long. I don't know how they doing. I mean, hopefully they are doing all right, but I'm just like, it is what it is. So, but yeah, I can't overextend myself no more. But anyway, y'all, I told y'all earlier I'm losing my voice. I overworked today. I ain't had no choice. They be working the mule out of us when we do that particular thing that we did today. So we need 3 people. And even with 3 people, I remember the last time we had 3 people, it was still killing us. It seemed like it was way worse. I don't know what it is, but it is what it is, y'all. So, but yeah, a lot is going on, and I don't really care what they talk about. My friend told me that they supposed to be training me starting next week or whatever once they get everything situated. And I was like, oh, okay. Not letting him know that I'm trying to get on up out of here. I don't care what they're doing. Hopefully, if I start training, it ain't gonna matter, because hopefully I will go on ahead and get me a job somewhere else. Because if they say, hey, we got an interview for you, depending on what day it is, I'll take off if I have to. Oh, well, it is what it is. I'll take a sick day real quick in the middle of training, because hopefully I'll get that job and not have to fool with them no more. Because in the past, they have passed me over for jobs and then put the job back out there a month later. Hopefully it's not going to be a running theme years and years later, but we shall see. But anyway, thank y'all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. Y'all, I'm finna sit up here and debate on whether or not I'm going to start taking these braids down or not. I'm going to try to watch some more Shameless. And what's today? It's today, Friday. I might watch Grey's Anatomy and all that stuff. What, Station 19? If I can. I don't know. It depends on how I feel, because I've been falling asleep the last couple of days. That's one of the main reasons why my videos ain't even up yet, because I fell asleep before I could even post them. But anyway, again, thank y'all for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I will see y'all next time. All right. Bye, y'all.